Ah, is this me? I can't tell.
Hobbit!
Battle of 5 Armies!
So Hobbit!
Avatar! Airbender!
No.
So, yeah, we saw the Hobbit, Battle of 5 Armies. So, yeah, we give our thoughts and opinions and stuff on it.
Conclusion of the trilogy.
Trilogy.
Or the one book.
From the one book that was less than 400 pages long.
Yeah.
They made into 10 hours worth of movie.
Think about it. They could have made Lord of the Rings into 9 movies if they did.
They could have.
They could have, honestly.
Whew.
And honestly, it would have. They could have actually followed the books better.
Probably, but
Whatever.
That's entirely
Creative license.
Entire other thing of its own. So, okay, where should we start?
What's your fucking thoughts, Sam?
Me? I'll tell you my thoughts. Alright, first I'll just say I liked the movie, because then I'll divide it up into things that I didn't like and things that I really liked, you know, as natural, where they could have made the movie different and this and that, because it's review, you know that. First of all, I'll just say I really, really enjoyed the movie. Like, I'll set that, you know, right there, and just because, you know, I don't want it to seem like I'm complaining about, like, oh, it was just, you know, they ruined it. It was a really good movie. It was really, 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 really good. So the things that I didn't really like, per se, it's sometimes, I know how it is with Lord of the Rings movies, and I like them, and it's just sometimes with the battles, things just, I thought they could have changed up a little bit, because it reminded me somewhat of the Lord of the Rings movies, with the battles where it's like, you know, there were a lot of orcs, and they charge this place, and they're big orcs and stuff, and, you know, the orcs just outnumber everyone, which is fine, you know, but that's just how it usually is. The orcs outnumber everyone. They go in, they're kicking everyone's butt, they're killing women and children and whoever, and, you know, yeah, it just kind of sets the tone that, yeah, they're definitely the bad guys. And they'll be kicking everyone's butt, and then eventually the good guys that were like, they have nowhere to run, and it looks like they're on their last leg, and then they rally real quick, and boom, and they go, and, you know, they rally, and they fight back the orcs. And I enjoyed the big battle, the battle of the 5 armies. I'm not spoiling anything for you, it's in the title, there's going to be a battle of armies. Was there 5 armies included?
Yes.
2 armies of orcs, elves, the men of Lake Town,
And
the dwarves of the Iron Hills.
Dwarves, elves, people,
Town.
And two different armies.
armies.
Or orc armies.
Oh, so they get 2 different armies?
Well, it was technically 2 huge ones. It was
Yeah.
the first one and then the second one that was coming.
Azog troops and Bulk troops.
Oh, I thought there would have been like 5 different like races were fighting, but for some reason that slipped my mind. But yeah, 5 different armies are battling, and you know someone gets pushed back, and it's like, oh, they're gonna lose, and then they fight back and everything. And I feel like I like it and I'm fine with it, you know, but it's just something that I noticed that, like, it reminds me of in the Lord of the Rings, you know, where everyone's getting beat back. There were like just a ton of orcs, like just, you know, like just a universe of orcs. And then like this ghost army comes along and, you know, beats everyone back. And in this movie, the Eagles, again, the Eagles, you know, Donnie McNabb leads the Eagles to a touchdown. And they just, like, the Eagles seem to save the day in every movie.
But Sam, 5 will always love you.
Well, yeah, Donnie McNabb he's you know, he's not Hall of Fame. He's not Jay Cutler, but, you know. But it just seems like this recurring thing, and it's fine, and I don't want to, like, question it. I like the movie, like how, you know, I set that up. I said I like the movies, but it just seems something that I noticed that I wish I wouldn't have had to have noticed that. But it's kind of impossible for me not to notice that, where they're pushed back, and then the Eagles come, or they're pushed back, and then, the Ghost Army comes and helps out. It's just a thing that I noticed, I guess. It's not really bad, it's just, something about the movie, they could have made it different in some way. I mean, if that's the way it is in the book.
That is exactly
Yeah.
the way it is in the book.
Well, then
Same thing with the Ghost Army.
Yeah,
I never read the Hobbit, the book, but I don't know. I just feel like that's this common thing that keeps happening. But the Eagles save the day again. As far as complaints go, that was just something that I noticed that was just there. It's not really a good thing. I wanted to say it. And the end, they seem to wrap it up pretty quickly. And in that sense, they kind of jumped around from character to character, and really, I don't know, kind of like each individual person was in their specific battle is kind of how it went. And it just seems like things kind of wrapped up pretty quickly. And I mean, a half an hour wouldn't have killed the movie if they could have extended a little bit and make it a little bit better. Because you guys said in the book it just kind of ends, pretty much.
Basically.
Kind of, because the main focus of the book is just Bilbo, and then they added a bunch of characters to the movie. I mean, all the dwarves are still there, but like Tauriel
and Legolas weren't there.
So like,
so that whole story arc between Tauriel and Killy didn't happen.
So yeah, so I can't really make comparisons to the book and say I had this and that. But it's just, like a half an hour wouldn't have killed it. They could have, wrapped it up a little better. It felt a little bit rushed. But, I mean, it feels like, it's such a good movie. Those are, like, the things I have to, like, say that's kind of bad about. Like, that's it, The rest of the movie was just so good. The battles were awesome. Some of the final blows in battles, where, like, the Thorn, what's his name? Azog. Like, that sort of final, I'm not going to spoil it, but the final
exchange.
Yeah, was pretty cool on the ice and everything. The battles individually ended pretty well, and so the combat was cool. Smaug,
died 10 minutes into the movie.
Yeah, I felt like they did him kind of bad. Like, not, I mean, it's, like, if that's the way it happens,
Done did him.
but it's like I'm gearing up for so much more, and I felt like he died and that's it. Like, we don't care about him anymore, and they really moved away from him so quickly. Like, they just didn't, care about him enough, and that kind of upset me. But, the combat, the graphically, it was, splendid. We saw it in 3D. I'm not like the biggest fan of 3D.
I really didn't notice the difference.
Yeah, not that I hate it. It's just like it's not much of a difference. It's just layering sometimes.
Yeah,
my eyes are kind of weird. It's a little bit blurry sometimes, just a hint. But graphically, it was awesome. Story wise, it continued everything and wrapped up pretty well, just pretty quickly. And everything about the movie is pretty magnificent. It was fulfilling.
Alright, I guess I'm next. Let me just start off by saying these movies could have been done in 2 instead of 3. And I feel like it would have almost suited the story better as 2 movies. Because, like Sam said, some things kind of did get drawn out. And then when things finally got wrapped up at the end, they just kind of did a Mass Effect and just kind of like, hey, it's over.
But when you have 3 movies, that's 1 more movies with Eagles. So
They would have had the Eagles anyway. Because the Eagles are in the book.
But then you have to pay the Eagles for another movie.
What?
Didn't the Eagles save them in the first movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Eagles want that money. You have to pay the Eagles. They're great actors.
They're great band.
Probably my favorite actors in the entire movie were the Eagles.
They are great band. This movie's visually stunning. It's gorgeous. Like, again, the backdrop itself is almost a character. At least on film. So again, some story arcs were there that weren't actually there in the book. I'm not going to go too into them. Anyone who's read the book knows exactly what they are. But even with the added stuff, they did very well. It was very well written. on the part of Peter Jackson for things that weren't really there in the first place, kind of taking a little bit of liberty and adding to the lore. It was a risky move, and it kind of did pay out a little bit. There was some emotional impact with some of these story arcs. I mean, people died that you kind of knew were going to die.
If you read the books.
If you've read The Hobbit. If you haven't, shame on you. You can go kill yourself.
Hey.
Hey, be nice.
Sorry, I was being Zach for a moment. The combat was great. Legolas was badass as usual. And what was the Thranduil? The Elf King. Legolas' father. Thranduil or something? Thranduil.
Something like that, yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head.
He's kind of a heartless bastard, honestly. I mean, he really does seem just like a bastard the entire time until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't seem like so much of a bastard anymore.
Spoilers, homie. There's a whole lot of spoilers going on here.
Yeah.
You know you can read The Hobbit.
But Thranduil isn't really in The Hobbit.
Talking about characters, there were quite a few characters where it seemed like in Lord of the Rings it was really focused on, like, you know, Samwise and Frodo, and then Gimli and Legolas and Aragorn, and those were like main characters. Then there would come some secondary characters. There was like a lot of individual sort of main characters. Like a lot of people kind of had a lot of their own plot lines going on.
Story was very good. I mean, it was just a fantastic movie. Even if you're not a Lord of the Rings fan, if you're just a film buff, someone who enjoys movies, definitely something you want to go see.
You do have to watch the first two before this one, though.
You should watch the first two, obviously,
because it would make sense. After watching this, I actually kind of almost disagree with what Luke said about the third movie, because after watching this, I do kind of support the idea of a third movie, in the sense that, I mean, when you actually look down and you look at it, because of the way that The Hobbit is written, because basically this part of this movie takes place over like the last 50, 75 pages of The Hobbit anyway, so it's not that much source material that's being based off of. But there actually is a lot at stake, and they kind of bring that up in the movie with the Battle of the Five Armies. There is a lot at stake. So, and I mean, in two movies, there's so much that kind of, in a way, individual things that happen that are just like really brief, that I don't think they could have done the battle as much justice as they did, because they gave it a lot of justice.
That's true, and it also kind of did allow them to go a little more in depth with certain characters.
Like Thorin and his well-being is, you know, something that is addressed in the movie. The relationship between Bilbo and Thorin is also definitely looked at a lot more. You know, certain characters are, certain characters are thrown in for a cool effect. You know, Elrond and Galadriel are in there. I won't say where, but they're.
That was a pretty fucking epic scene, though.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. So they're in, and of course, like in the last movie, Legolas is in, and Tauriel's in, which I really liked what they did with her character, because the book, The Hobbit as a book, it's a good book if you like Lord of the Rings, but as a book, I will admit it's kind of dry. It's just a read, so some of the added things that they threw in, that Peter Jackson threw in, I think works really, really well with with it, especially the storyline between Keely and Tauriel. Like, that's something that I think was needed. Also, Tauriel is just cool, which I don't know if I mentioned this with the last one, because there hasn't really been except for maybe Éowyn, but even though
there really hasn't been like a female.
There's not like a badass female in Lord of the Rings, and now it's there. And so, let's see, a couple other things. I thought the action sequences were done very, very well. Like I said, Legolas is the same badass that he was in the original Lord of the Rings. Like, everything was kind of done on almost, I'd even say, a bigger scale Lord of the Rings. Which
Yeah.
I mean, with the added CG effects and how far they've come since then, I mean does a lot to it. And I do agree, the ending was a little rushed, but I understand why. I know a lot of people were just kind of like, they skip the end of The Return of the King, because The Return of the King has 12 different endings, where you could honestly stop the movie at any single one of these points, and it would be an acceptable end to the movie. But it just keeps going, and so I think they were just trying to get the important ones out there, you know, the characters that you really, really do kind of care about, get them kind of all fixed up and done, and then move on. Which can be a good thing, but then as I do like all the characters that they've introduced, I think that kind of it sucks a little bit. Trying to think if there's anything else I'm necessarily missing from...
Maybe want to play Shadow and Mordor just because of the combat and all the
Yeah.
decapitations.
It's kind of in the sense that it's the last of the 3 movies. I was just kind of like wanting this, like, really to play out the movies, like just to play them off and give them this awesome ending. If you really like The Hobbit, you really want to feel good. Like at the end of the very end of the Lord of the Rings, it's just you're really sinking it all in. And this one, it's like you're kind of ready for that, but they don't really, as you guys would say, hit you with all those feels.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's a bit more of the idea of that it's a prequel, and I think that's how you're supposed to watch these movies. And so the end of the movie literally directly sets up the Lord of the Rings. So I mean, I think that's what this is for. This is so that boom, go watch Lord of the Rings. Which I mean, yes, it won't look as good, but I'd still like it.
In that sense, yeah, I kind of get it.
Yeah. Though I do really, really like this movie. It is definitely, in my opinion, better than the first movie. The first movie was a little
Slow.
a little slow, a little stale. I'm just because I just saw it, I'm not going to base an opinion off of this right now. I don't know if I like it better than The Desolation of Smaug just yet. There wasn't that awesome sequence like the Burrow sequence in there. I didn't necessarily see one like that maybe in this film.
Really, the only thing close I could see was the scene with Legolas and Balg.
Yeah.
And like the moment that sticks out to me in the second movie is the whole thing between Smaug and Bilbo.
Oh,
yeah, that's another
Towards
big.
the end. Like
That's another big.
just
thing.
the way that was done was fucking
Fell
flawless.
into the light.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. I definitely recommend seeing it, especially if you've seen all 5 movies up until this point. Why are you not already there? Why are you watching this and haven't already seen it?
Yeah.
Like, go see it.
Yeah, I thought this movie was pretty well done. I'll say that if you thought the first 2 movies were boring because there wasn't those big battles and the big action sequences that you're used to with Lord of the Rings, just watch this one.
This movie's almost an entire
It's
action
there.
sequence.
I mean, it doesn't take too terribly long for the action to happen, and then it just the way everything builds up is I just thought was really well done. I just thought the story was very good. It's cool to see some of the relationships between all the different characters. And I think one of my favorite relationships is between Bilbo and Gandalf. I just think those two work so well together, and every scene with those two, I was like, yes, this is fucking rad. But other ones, with Keely and what's her name?
Tario.
Yeah, were definitely very well done. It just felt like this movie was a little bit more well done. But yeah, I mean the action sequences were just fucking awesome, and this movie had a little bit of kind of a sense of humor almost too, at times with Bilbo and then with the dwarves, and it's definitely cool. And so just some of the ways that a lot of the characters' personalities were portrayed, especially Thorin's. Yeah, I'm blanking. Thorin's. It's just fucking awesome to me. And I don't know. It's just when I watch the first 2 movies, when it comes to scenery and looks, the first 2 movies kind of look very, very strange at times. I didn't really feel that way with this movie. I don't know why. It just didn't really come across to me as this movie was shot at 48 frames per second and just, you know, a lot of CG. It just didn't really stick out to me that much. Maybe
I don't know if I think maybe we. I'm not too thick, but I think they had a setting where you go in to see a high frame rate version of it, so we might have actually seen it at like 24 frames a second, maybe. I think. Because they did have a specific movie setting for that, so...
Yeah, and in the first two movies, they're traveling a lot. And this one was just kind of confined to one area. So where in the first two you would see, you know, lots of different areas and be like, yeah, that looks kind of weird. Whereas this one, you kind of just got used to that, the way that looks. Yeah, I mean, it gets off to a fast start, and it just keeps going. And it was probably the quickest 2 hours and... 24 minutes of my life. Not really the quickest, but it was pretty fucking quick. But yeah, the only thing that gets me is the ending. I mean, just fuck it, make it 3 hours and wrap it up a little bit better. It just did feel very rushed, because to me it was like, yeah, you're wrapping up all the different characters' storylines, but you forgot that a fucking huge ass battle just happened. And it's just like, I feel like they just pushed that over to the side. It was like, okay, whatever. Like, there was just one scene that I remember of it kind of wrapping up, and I was like, okay, that's weird. But other than that, I mean, I thought it was really good. To me, people will complain, oh, it's not, you know, word for word the Hobbit book. Oh no, it's bullshit. They should have stuck more to the source material. It's fucking stupid. But to me, you gotta add certain elements to it to make it interesting to watch. Because reading a book and watching a movie are two completely different things, in my opinion. And so them, you know, Peter Jackson adding, you know, certain characters, you know, Ragabash, whatever his name is, the Brown, the wizard. You know, Radagast. He's a goofy, stupid motherfucker. You know, he's entertaining to watch. So to me, I don't really care too much about that, because they did stick to it pretty well. They just added some things, so I don't see that as a big problem. But other than that, I think this is a phenomenal movie, and like he said, if you saw the first two, you know, I don't even know why you're watching this video.
Go out.
Go see this one.
Yeah. Well, maybe they haven't seen it yet because it's sold out. Yeah. Every time they go try to get
yeah.
There was so much TP in this movie, though.
Dwarves on pigs. Elves on fucking moose.
Dwarves on goats. There's a fucking bear.
There was the troll that smashed his head through the wall.
There's just
fucking bats.
Just all kinds of. It's just movies all about animals. Yeah. Fuck the battle. I'm here for the animals.
I thought a couple of the setup parts were, like, not goofy, but, like, not completely unnecessary. Like, in the book, because I didn't read it, the Gandalf, you know, where he was up in that, like, cage.
No.
What, did he?
You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on.
Technically, you don't know. So it could have, but it's not actually mentioned.
Like, I don't know why they sent him up to, like, because there was, like, some darkness or something.
He went to go investigate the Tower of Dol Guldur, and that's all you heard from him until
he shows up.
Until he shows up at Erebor.
Yeah, like so he went up to investigate, and he kind of got stuck up there, and then I mean it's nice that they kind of like you're like, hey, this is what he did, and like if you read the book, you know, I never read the book, so if you read the book, you're like, so that's what he's up to. But for me, it's just kind of like that, and then at the end they kind of set up like Aragorn. I'm like, those are cool, but it's like, I'm not saying they're unnecessary. I just kind of felt like it's one of those things in movies where it's like, you know, the setup, I know what he's talking about, you know, like, they weren't,
no, it's actually
they were just kind of there, thrown in, sort of.
He's actually going Italian.
You know, you mentioned in the book how Gandalf goes to the fucking place, and then he showed, you know, you don't know what happens, and then he shows up later.
Yeah,
that doesn't make for something interesting to watch. To me,
I was fine with Peter Jackson.
Yeah, to me, adding them more meat to areas like that, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
that was fun.
And also, I mean, all the stuff that Peter Jackson, even when he did the original Lord of the Rings, he's discussed with the Tolkien estate. Like, he's looking at people who know this.
Yeah.
So it's like, does this make sense? Is this okay? And they're saying yes. So who are we to say that it's not right?
Yeah. I mean, I like that they put it in him investigating, but then it was just kind of like he was investigating and some stuff happened, and then he's just right back to wherever. Like, and it's kind of ended quickly. Like, he was up there and investigating. I was like gearing up, and then a character from the Lord of the Rings, like, I'm not going to say which character, you have to watch the movie to find out, like, appears and some like flashes and like it's like some people could have seizures during that part.
Dude, that was like, that whole scene was like an acid trip.
Yeah, and then Gandalf is just like, oh, I'm out of here.
And then he gets up and he walks like 5 minutes later. So
Yeah,
you were just
like,
unconscious. You were just unconscious,
Yeah.
and you just couldn't get up and fucking tank it.
There was a caribou too. The elf king dude was like riding. Whatever. Don't judge me.
What is it? Do not question the motivations of wizards.
No. Something like that.
A question.
Anyways.
Cool.
Now, when this comes out on Blu-ray, we can just marathon everything.
Dude,
we
The
should-
Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
We should. We
And
should make that like a recap.
every time they mention the One Ring, or they mention Mordor or orcs, you have to
Take a shot.
I wish there was more Smaug, whether it's in the book or not. Like, he was in, they
Smaug
like
was
you
dead
said,
within
they
10
killed
minutes.
him in like 10 minutes. I'm just like
Well,
gearing
he
up for
had that
Smaug.
whole like basically like last hour.
Yeah.
I mean, he had
Yeah.
like 2 movies.
But
So.
I don't know, like, then he got killed. That like whole thing with him like attacking the town, that was really freaking cool. And then he's just like, oh yeah, I'm a badass, and my voice is deep, and I can't get that deep. And he's like walking along, he's like sexy crawling towards Bob. Bard. It sounds like they call him Bob in the movie. Maybe it's just the way accents, the way they say it. I keep hearing Bob.
You're just possessed by Bob Lee. That's all.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, I mean, it was cool, like, Smaug got killed, but, like, I like Smaug. I wanted some more Smaug.
Dragons are always interesting characters, though, when they're actually portrayed as intelligent, because when they're sentient, they are highly intelligent.
And what are the chances of Bob hitting Smaug, like, right in a spot? Like, what if he missed?
Well, he's the
And then
bone.
Smaug, like, destroys
He's
everything.
like the
Bard is
like-
descended from, like, a legendary
On the very small chance that he misses, the movie's entirely different. Smaug kills him, and, like,
and
that's
then
the
everything's
movie.
fucked, and it's like,
Yeah.
and then boom, like the movie's 10 minutes long. He eats him, and then he goes back up and he eats Bilbo, and then
Yeah.
boom, nothing ever happens.
Bard's father is the one who actually did the damage that knocked the scale off.
And so, wow.
Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So if you watch Night at the Museum 3, Smaug's in that, and Ben Stiller knocks the scale off, and then you have to watch them in chronological order.
God damn it.
The unknown, like, 2.5, The Hobbit 2.5, Night at the Museum.
Scores.
Scores.
I give it like a 9 out of 10. Like, it was really solid throughout the movie, and I was enjoying it. And there were some big grand parts, and it's just, it was really good, but like something in me is just not like it's perfect,
Yeah, I'll go with Sam and give this movie a 9 out of 10. It was an excellently done movie, very well written, except for the last 10 minutes, which seems to be a common thing nowadays in movies and games. Everything is great up until the last 10 minutes.
I'll give this movie 9.25 out of 10. I really like this movie. It does, except for the last 10 minutes, which I'm not going to hold it too much against it, because that's like the only major fault that I see. It really lives up to, the almost 4 years of hype we've had for the entire thing of The Hobbit. It lives up to, the ending that this trilogy that some people deem unnecessary to be, so 9.25.
9 out of 10 for me. Just watch it. I don't have to say anything more. It's B.A.
Man.
They're going to do the Silmarillion next, probably.
Yep.
7.8 out of 10, too many dwarves,
Too much water.
too many elves.
There wasn't a lot of water.
Too many orcs.
Lake,
Too much
Too much
orcs.
action.
Too much orcs.
Not enough water.